Welcome to the Observeday podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. This month of the Observeday podcast, we're marking National Organic Month with someone whose career blends food, health, history, and even romance. My guest is Amy Reiley, an award-winning cookbook author, certified nutrition coach, wine competition judge, and one of the world's leading experts on aphrodisiac foods. Her work has been featured in the New York Times, National Geographic, Health and Wine Enthusiasts, and she's appeared everywhere from The Today Show to Nightline. Beyond helping people create unforgettable date nights, Amy is passionate about our food choices affect our health, our relationships, and the planet. She also works behind the scenes in Hollywood as a sustainability coordinator, ensuring leftover catering gets donated to those in need rather than wasted. Today, she will help us explore how organic food choices intersect with health, sustainability, and even intimacy, showing us that what we eat truly has the power to transform our lives. Welcome to the podcast, Amy.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you've dedicated your career to exploring the connections between food, health, and desire. When you think of organic, what role does it
Mhm.
play in making those connections more meaningful?
Okay. So, wow. So, first of all, I have to say that it doesn't I my platform wouldn't be that it has to be organic. That being said, me as a person and in my personal choice of sustainability and the importance of helping the planet and supporting our planet and supporting each other. That is where I put organic in. Um, but so foods of desire, which is my area of expertise, so aphrodisiac foods, foods of romance, those kind of things, they are all natural foods, right? These are
Okay.
all things that are, natural, real foods. And so, of course, choosing organic is the obvious choice with those. And I will say that sometimes when you choose a food, some pesticides are known hormone disruptors, right?
Yeah.
So it isn't, in a lot of cases, it isn't necessarily like you have to choose organic or your sex life is gonna tank. I would never say that. But when you are choosing foods of romance, it is the smarter choice. And I do love the idea of celebrating organics and celebrating an entire month of organics. So
There's a word you've been throwing around, and I used it in the intro, but I'd love for you to like really break it down for us, because for a lot of persons, that word is new to them, and that's the word aphrodisiac. What's that all about?
okay. Well, that is my favorite topic. So I'd love to tell you more about. So an aphrodisiac food is basically any food that promotes desire. So as in sexual desire, as in
Okay.
a food that can spark romance, that can make you. So for example, in the case of ginger or garlic, and sorry, ginger or chili peppers, they can actually make your tongue tingle. They can make your lips plump a little bit. They can make you feel like kissing someone, and they can choose to someone who is looking at you who potentially could have an interest in kissing you, it would make you more desirable. So it's foods that not only make you feel more amorous, but foods that can make you seem more amorous to someone else. So
Yeah.
those are aphrodisiacs. And there are hundreds of natural foods that throughout history have been used as aphrodisiacs as different from by different cultures. And the most interesting thing I think about that is that a lot of cultures in different parts of the world at the same period in time who had no way of communicating with one another were using the same foods as aphrodisiacs. So clearly something was working.
Yeah. Wow. Earlier on, while you were responding to the role of organic food, you mentioned that pesticide has a way of affecting hormones, and as a certified nutrition coach, beyond the usual no pesticides narrative, right? Beyond that, what are some of the health
Yeah.
advantages of eating organic foods?
So there is some research and it varies by ingredient, and also the research we haven't done enough to understand. But in as a general rule, I'm just going to throw out the general idea is that a lot of organic foods are actually more nutritious. They contained more nutrients than their inorganic counterparts. It's not true of every ingredient, and we don't even understand 100% to what degree it's true with all ingredients. But yeah, for sure, there's definitely they're more nutritious. So why not?
Yeah. Because yeah, there's no pesticides, and then also, I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
Course. Now, I do wanna be clear. So the focus of my work is not organics. I do
Yeah,
encourage them, and I do, for example, when I talk about, well, what kind of salmon should you have, and wild salmon, the nutritional benefits of wild salmon or, conventionally raised beef, which is, raised on a feed with hormone versus, eating, say, uh, grass-fed beef or bison. These are things that I look into particularly for how you're getting the nutrition for your sexual health, or when I'm coaching people
yeah,
on, when they need nutrients. Well, you should choose with this food, you should choose organic because of these reasons. So I do look at it a lot. It is not my sole focus though, for sure.
yeah. Well, uh, hmm. The you talked about, you were kind enough to explain the word aphrodisiac, and I do understand it now, and I can, yeah, see, I know what that word means. Uh,
You're going to use it all the time now, right? Okay,
uh,
maybe not.
okay, I want you to, you gave some example, but I know you gave this example in relation to the definition, but I want us to take a little bit
Yeah.
step further, right? For a lot of persons that are just new to this, aphrodisiac, they're like, "Oh, what's this all about? Like, is this even relevant?" You understand? We're like, "Oh, like really?" Some persons are like, "Oh, there's something like that. I never knew." Like, wow,
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, there is relevance, and you can apply it in however you want to use the information. I mean, information is power, right? And so, however you want to use that information, if you want to use it to plan a romantic evening, either to woo someone or reconnect with your partner, whatever it is, you can use them in that way. But you can also use this knowledge to improve your sexual health overall by making food choices that will support better sexual health. And the interesting thing about that is when you eat for sexual health, you're really eating for your overall health is going to benefit, especially because the foods that are many of the foods that are the best choices for your sexual health
yeah,
are foods that also fall on the list of heart healthy foods
okay,
because circulation, blood flow, these are essential to sexual health as well as heart health. And so you're going to benefit your heart, which means you're also going to benefit energy, right? Better circulation, you have better energy. For some people, it's going to encourage weight loss and boosting metabolism. It can also, eating a diet like this can help people who are in recovery from surgery or an injury for the same reasons. So even though I'm telling people, well, you're eating for your sexual health, which is a great selling point because who doesn't want to have the best sexual health and have that experience? But you're also benefiting so many other parts of your overall health and wellness.
yeah. Something I want to understand, right? When you say, yeah, aphrodisiac, it's like, eating. Let's say, for example, you're a bodybuilder, right? You want to, like, get this body. What is Mr. Universe? Those contests where they have. Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observeday newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Oh
It reads,
gosh. Yes.
right? Let's say I'm training for that, right? There's a way I would eat, right? There's a kind of foods I would eat,
Yes.
my choice of food will be different from a regular human being who's just trying to eat healthy food, to be okay,
So
right?
different. Yes.
And now
Yes.
you for aphrodisiac, right? You're saying that that's the same approach where you're eating so that um towards a preference such that you're healthy enough, such that your sexual life is thriving and doing well. But at first, when I heard the word aphrodisiac, and this is me just pointing out there, I thought it was eat the food you eat during during sex.
Oh, yeah. No.
Ah,
I mean, that's that can be distracting, but well, although there are famous movie scenes, right, where there's kind of an interplay between eating and sex, and certainly that can be a thing, but that is not specifically what aphrodisiacs are about.
yeah.
It's funny,
Okay.
I run a website called eatsomething.sexy.com, and through that website, I sell a scavenger hunt that you and it's for someone and their partner or someone they're dating, someone they know a little bit but are at least dating, or perhaps their partner, to just have a fun date night at home. And it does end. So it's the person who sets it up gives clues that are food related and that are hidden around the house, and the other person goes through this little hunt,
Yeah.
and it when they get to the last clue, it ends with a picnic in bed. So there, occasionally there's a place for that. There's a place for that kind of play. But no, in general, aphrodisiacs are linked with eating for sexual health.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that we're able to clarify that. Because a lot of persons they eat, oh, heat was like, oh yeah, like, oh, those are you talking about the sex chocolates and all those things? Oh, that's what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. No,
Wow.
no. And bathtubs full of champagne. Oh, no. Which, by the way, is a terrible idea. Don't do it. But yeah, so I'm talking about primarily eating foods that, historically are linked with amorous pursuits, with love. And that can either be sort of in seduction, or it can be eating for to be healthier for sex.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, thank you for explaining that. And when you is there any how different is the let's say I was to choose to say, okay, I wanted to go on a on a diet 3 a.m. Like, okay, what would that
Yeah.
situation be called? Would it be called an aphrodisiac diet or something like that? Well, how different would my what's the word? Is it diets, food? I don't know. How different would it be from okay, I'm already eating healthy. What would change?
Okay. So if you really want to like just sort of, as we'd say, get your feet wet, just sort of dabble, experiment in it. If you go to my website, eatsomething.sexy.com, on the homepage, you'll see um, Eat for Your Sex Life for Men and Eat for Your Sex Life for Women. If you click on each of those, you'll see a list of 10 foods that are good for men, 10 foods that are good for women. Yes, there's overlap. I selected these 10 foods so they were different from one another. But in terms of like nutrients, there is overlap, but I focused on things that would really help men, and 10 foods that would really help women. These are completely normal, natural, everyday foods. And a great way to kind of start seeing what this would be is to start incorporating some of those foods into your diet more frequently. So, and they're just natural things. Like for example, for men, it's salmon, it's watermelon, it's pineapple, it's clams. It's not anything weird or crazy. For women, it includes ingredients like chili peppers, citrus fruits, scallops. I'm completely forgetting the women's list. That is so sad. Oh, dark chocolate. Like, what woman doesn't want to eat more dark chocolate?
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered. There's a lot of meat around there's a lot of meat around I can't even pronounce the word. Aphrodisiac foods. Um,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
what's the biggest misconceptions you like to clear up?
So I think, I've had a lot of experience over the years. I've done a lot of consulting with chefs in hotels and well known restaurants on how to create a menu for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
That is something I am often asked to do. And I like to let the chef take the lead because it's their menu and their restaurant and they know what their customer wants. But inevitably, their choices are things that are luxury foods rather than energizing foods.
Hmm.
So, for example, so they'll think of, oh, let's serve them a really luxurious meal of this beautiful filet mignon
Yeah.
steak. And right? And this we're gonna do this, like, ice cream sundae for 2. All you wanna do after that meal is go to sleep.
Uh,
So it's really trying to guide people toward if you want to plan a meal that is very romantic and aphrodisiac, I try to guide people toward foods that are energizing, foods that are lighter and more energizing. And yes, you can still find special occasion kind of foods, things that are more luxurious ingredients. Like, for example, you can make a broth of saffron, right? Which is like the most luxurious of all the spices. And you could have a piece of fish in this luxurious saffron broth instead of having a big filet mignon steak that's going to make you want to go to sleep.
yeah.
So that I think is the big misconception, is that it's not about giving someone something special and luxurious. It's about giving them something that will make them feel like tearing off their clothes.
Yeah. Okay. We're not talking about substances. We're just talking about food, actual food. I just want
Just
to
food.
clarify that.
Just food.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
As a wine judge,
Not
I'm glad we cleared that up. uh, okay. As a you're a wine judge and you're also an aphrodisiac food expert, right? And we've been talking about the food so far. And what's your take on organic or biodynamic wines when paired with aphrodisiac foods?
so
Do they
I mean,
enhance the experience?
I'm a huge proponent. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of particularly biodynamic wines. I do know, for example, as far as organics go, I can think of a California winemaker, and this was maybe 15 years ago, and I hope that things have changed since then. But at the time, they were working toward getting their vineyards declared organic. And unfortunately, they were turned down because the system they used to recycle water rather than wasting the water was not okay with organic standards.
Yeah.
And so even though they did everything right in the vineyards, they weren't allowed to declare their vineyards organic simply because, and they would have been allowed to if they weren't recycling their water. And so they had to make the hard decision: do we stick with what we believe in and recycle our water, or do we allow ourselves to be called organic? So I think sometimes bureaucracy gets in the way, and of what's good. I mean, of what's right. And the term organic certification, I think, is a little bit problematic. But I certainly am all for, I do highly support wineries that are making the effort to create wines pesticide free. I love biodynamics. I applaud anyone who can. It's pretty strict. It's pretty complicated. So I applaud anyone that can successfully do it and create a great
Yeah.
wine. And there are many people who can. I think they're amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for clearing that up. I did prepare a set of lightning round questions for you. I'll just go ahead and ask them. You ready?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. What's the most surprising aphrodisiac food you've researched?
Oh wow. Most surprising. Probably. I'm so slow. Probably something that's really mundane. Oh, potatoes. Potatoes.
Wow. Every time
People are
I
always like, "Really?" Yes.
uh,
A potato could get an aphrodisiac.
okay. What's an organic ingredient that instantly feels sexy?
That instantly feels sexy. You know what? I've gotta say, that depends on the person. Um, like for me, it would be an oyster. I know
Okay.
so many people who don't even wanna look at an oyster, and so obviously that wouldn't work.
Okay.
So it could be something else. It could be something like a perfectly cooked scallop. It could
Dark
be
chocolate.
a piece of ginger. It could be a beautiful tangerine that's just picked off the tree, or a fig that's just picked off. A fig just picked off the tree is super sexy.
Okay. Uh, what's an overrated aphrodisiac food you don't buy into?
Ooh, one that I don't buy into. Okay, and have you ever heard of durian fruit?
Yeah, nah.
It's
I've
a
heard of.
Southeast Asian fruit
Okay.
that smells like a toilet. It smells like a public toilet.
Mm. Mm.
Now, the flavor of it is
Uh,
okay, but considered an aphrodisiac, and I don't know if that's because of the adventure of getting past the smell and getting to the tasty food. I don't know, but, like, I'm not buying that one. I'm not buying it. Sorry.
Okay. What's your favorite aphrodisiac plus wine pairing?
Ooh, wow. Okay. For me, it's probably anything with champagne. Yeah, when it comes to aphrodisiac wine, I'm afraid I have expensive taste. But, I could also be really happy with this is a weird one, and people don't believe me till they try it, like a big California Chardonnay and a piece of dark chocolate. Not even a piece of dark cho it could be a bag of M&M's candy,
Okay.
actually. It's
Okay.
kind of people don't believe me, but it's really kind of fantastic together.
Okay. If you had to design the ultimate organic aphrodisiac meal, what's the star dish?
Ooh, this is fun, but I don't know, I see, it depends on who I'm making it for.
Okay.
'Cause if it were a meal for me, it'd be a very different meal than what I would give my husband. Oh, I'm trying to think of something we both really like. Oh, there is a recipe in, is it in my first cookbook? Yes, in my first cookbook. It's called Moist Mango Meatloaf, and it's meatloaf with mango. And one time I made it in a heart-shaped dish for my
Yeah.
husband. And something that you would never think of, like, use really good, like, grass-fed beef and an organic mango, and it's so delicious, and it's very sweet when you make your meatloaf in a heart-shaped dish. So that which is so peculiar and out there, but that would be a really fun one. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for all the recommendations. Um, you did
of
mention your
course.
website over the course of the conversation, and you have so many resources. Where can listeners learn more about those resources and also connect with you?
Absolutely. So the best way to connect with me is to go to eatsomethingsexy.com/subscribe, or just go to any page on the website, sign up for my mailing list. And I love my mailing list subscribers. I respond to when they write back to me, I respond to every single email personally. So that is the best place if you want to talk to me more. Just sign up for my list and then we can talk when you get an email, just hit reply. But go to eatsomethingsexy.com for any of my resources. You can find information about all of my cookbooks there as well
Yeah.
and some other fun products that I've created.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I would add all the links you mentioned in the description so listeners can just click and go directly to the site. Thank you so much. I feel enlightened. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
thanks
working.
for having me.
I'm work-
What is it called? World Organic Month? Is that what it's called?
the National Organic
I think
Month.
that's it. International Organic Month. Happy
Yeah.
International Organic Month.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm walking away and I'm like, yeah, I learned
Thank
something new. I'm like, aphrodisiac. And I'm like, yeah, just throw the word around. And I'm like, oh, like, you guys really enlightened. And I'm like, no, just had a 20 minutes conversation with an expert. That's what happened. Wow.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of the Observeday podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.